Hi, I'm Dan Whittaker. I'm here today to talk about the trap chip shot and the merits it still has within the game, and also it's got quite a lot of bad press recently, and in my opinion it shouldn't have had as much bad press as it's maybe had, because I think that people are misunderstanding exactly the way to play it. People have been talking about driving the leading edge into the floor and how this is easy to catch heavy or catch thin. Well, I would agree with that to an extent if you're playing it badly. But you know, if you've got your pivot controlling this golf shot and your arms connected to the pivot, the bottom of the arc will be very consistent, and it won't be the leading edge that's necessarily driving into the floor, it'll be the whole length of the sole that is working along the floor. Okay, so you're going to be using the bottom of the golf club, okay, the low part of the face, to allow you to hit the ball nice and low, which will hit that low, drivey, checky chip shot, but you're not going to be driving the leading edge into the floor to achieve this. Now, we see a lot of people who are trying to do this shot, what they do is they're too tilty this way. So when they're going back and forwards, they'll either hit the ball very high or hit it very aggressively forwards, and therefore not be able to get any spin, because what they're doing is they're really thrusting the body, driving the handle forwards, holding this right wrist, you know, or then in another way they're creating an angle in the right wrist and holding that back and through, so it's driving in forwards. Now that only creates a bit of an overspin and doesn't necessarily get any backspin for you. Okay, this shot won't take much divot, it'll be very cleanly taken, you know, nipped off, struck low in the face, it goes low, one hot checks and releases. Okay, now the green I'm hitting onto today is very, very firm, because for once it's sunny here in Manchester, and the green is quite firm, it's going to bounce, it's going to release on a little bit. Okay, but the one shot I see that people struggling with it is going this way and this way. Now the problem is, you get a lot of people getting there, you kind of chunk it a little bit there, gets very inconsistent, ball's going to roll a long way, it becomes very difficult in order to play it correctly. So what we're going to be trying to do is show you today how to play this shot correctly. Okay, so the ball will be played very slightly back in the stance. So it will be just inside my right heel. There'll be a little bit of weight on the front foot, and my hands will be in line with the left pocket or a bat logo on the shirt on the left side of the body. And what I'm going to then do is I'm going to be making sure as I pivot back, my arms move with my body. Because a little bit of weight is on the front foot, the right hand will naturally be on top of the golf club a little bit more, therefore taking a fraction, a little bit of loft off the face. This is great because it's going to allow me to hit it a little bit lower. One of the problems I tend to see people do is they either get too much wrist in the takeaway, therefore making the arc very narrow coming in, so they've got no space at all to try and unload the wrists and get the club back to the ball, or they hold that, drive it in and get quite a few thin ones. The other one I tend to see is people try to pivot but let the right arm get away from the body. What then they do is then try and close the gap between the right arm and the side of the body, and as this happens they grab the shaft and therefore put too much speed and acceleration in through the shaft and the club head, changing the angle the club's coming into the ball, therefore creating a lot of inconsistency. So what we're going to be trying to do is keep this right elbow next to the side of the body whilst I pivot back, and then on the way through there's going to be a little bit of hip bump, not a lot, there'll be a very slight little bit of bump, and the chest start to work forwards and upwards whilst my head stays still. As this happens, I'll have a nice shallow bottom to the arc, and on the way through the hands will stay underneath the belt loops, the right hand will be underneath the face, and the club is on the other side of my hands over here. Okay, so it's on the outside edge of my hands. It will always finish there with the grooves looking back at me. Okay, and my hands will stay underneath the belt loop. So you can see that I create a very slight elongated C in the left side of my body. Okay, I'm not going to be going forwards with my upper body. Okay, I'm going to be staying nice and centered with that, or with the turning point, which is basically the top of the spine. So I'm going to keep the turning point in centre, and what I'm going to do is use my body back and body through. Use a little bit of hip shift on the way through, let the chest go up, and make sure that the loft is always looking back at me at the finish. club head stays outside the hands. We get the ball low in the face. We know when the ball is struck low in the face, gear effect takes over, which then reduces the dynamic loft further. We have a little bit of shaft kick, which get about 12 millimeters maximum, which reduces the dynamic loft further and makes the shot go in nice and low. And what then happens is the ball, because it's struck low in the face, climbs up the grooves and tries to align itself to the centre of gravity of the club, therefore increasing the spin. So what I would be doing is I'm going to go back and through. I'm going to get a nice shallow contact and get lots and lots of spin on the golf ball. Okay, so I'm just going to go back, through. You could hear there, I really didn't take any divot. It was a nip strike. The whole length of the golf club was in contact with the floor. Finish, the club head was finishing outside my hands, and I went back with the body, bumped the hips forwards, and then came with the grooves looking back at me at the end. So it goes in low, hits, checks and releases. Now this is a shot that you can use a lot on golf courses, particularly if you've got a fair bit of green to play with, where you don't want to use all of the bounce totally and feel like you're cutting under it and trying to fly it all the way, controlling the spin. It's a much more reliable way to play the shot. You don't have to land it the distance, check and release, particularly playing into slopes. It's a very reliable way to play it because we're going to use the whole length of the sole, not just the leading edge. So as a recap, we're going to make sure a little bit of weight forwards, hands forwards just a little bit, not aggressively, and it's just a little bit of weight on the front foot, but only by bumping those hips forward. Make the pivot back with the right arm attached to the side, hips will go forwards, chest will slightly go upwards. Okay, and as that happens, the handle goes up a little, which therefore gives us a shallower bottom to the arc. Then come through, chest is up, and the club finishes outside the hands. This is key to the shot, so we're going to be making sure we use the body going back and through. Like you see here, the chest is forward, finishing a quite long C with the club head on the other side of my hands. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please visit my channel. We're doing much more videos on the short game, pitching and 100 yards in. Lots of other exciting content on there. Please take a look around. Visit my website, which is www.danwhitakergolf.com, or all my social media on the links below. Thanks for watching. I hope to talk with you again soon.